CultureCasino show. Time to watch the show so open your mind. Even though the music's loud, it won't be so loud when it's done. No, it won't be loud. Maybe a bit obnoxious.
Greetings, everyone. Thank you, Tom, for putting some lyrics to the intro tune. It is a little loud. I'll turn it down. How you doing, my friend? How are you? Yeah.
Doing the best I can.
Well,
how you doing?
I understand that. So, the guys, this is going to be a short one. We're going to do a hard hour or less. That's it. We will do an hour and then we'll be done. So just plan on that. Here we go. Accidental Tourist showed up a bit early. What's going on, my friend? Of course, Naked Flame. Oh, I almost did that. Naked Fame says buzz. See, good to see you. D. Bud Martin is here. Keely Chow, of course. Tina Bojan. Sherry. Dragon Master. Cat Sith. Good to see you. Lots of folks. There's a Louvrian. Hi, Louvrian. She's so great. Bet you she's been busy lately. Mr. Dragon. HVP. Hello. Yeah, sing it, Tom. You guys didn't hear a sound. Yeah, got him. Headphones. There you go. What's up, Zax? Good to see you. Biggles Metz is in the house. Good to see you. Turn your volume on. All right, there we go. All right, we'll have to turn down the intro. I just love it. It's a lot of fun. HVP is welding. Your 4K's akimbo. Okay, cool. All right, and we have Keck showing up here at the last moment, and now we're up and running. Okay, Tom, we've had a big weekend. We had a Monday where they got some numbers that were final. They're pretty close to the estimates, which I was surprised by. What did you think overall with the performance of a film like Ghostbusters Afterlife? What did you think?
Well, of course, I would have liked to have seen it do much, much better than it did. It didn't do horrible, but of course, it didn't reach that threshold where I said it needed to, and that was it needed to beat the 2016 movie, even though there's a ton of reasons why it was a huge success overall. It's still going to be one of those things that the one side of the media is going to really beat on, is that, wow, the girls still beat it. And then you got Mary Sue that's having like a fucking crisis of, identity right now because they don't know what to do because they like the new movie, but yet they still blame the racist, misogynistic fans for not getting their sequel to 2016. So they're like, why can't we have both?
Well, because the other one didn't make $1. In fact, it's still 100 million under.
No, and they even admit all this shit, right? Like in this recent article I was just looking at, and it just made me laugh. Yeah. I mean, there's some pretty harsh takes on the movie itself, but overall, I thought the movie was great. I think it will probably do pretty well over the weekend. I mean, it has a little bit of competition, but I wouldn't say anything very.
No, we were just talking about that. Yeah,
very big. Yeah, like that I would worry too much. I mean, overall, I would expect a percentage drop of maybe. Hold up. Is that the final number 47? Because that's different than what they said.
Oh no, that's including Monday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I was gonna say. All right, so just the same though. I think it'll have a percentage drop of maybe. So did like 44 this weekend. Next weekend's a holiday weekend. It might surprise us and do about 30, 35.
If it does 35, it's already, getting close to the we made money on this movie money. Although maybe not. Maybe
It's got a little ways to go yet. I mean, it cost 75 million to make.
Yeah. Yep.
It did a little bit overseas, so overall, it's done like 60 some million.
Well, and it's
has some other markets to open up yet.
Yeah, it's interesting because, to be honest with you, it did pretty well internationally. It opened bigger in the UK than you would have expected, about 5 million over there. In box office for the weekend. That's big for a film.
I mean, it's got a few places yet to open up, like I said. I mean, altogether, considering it made almost 75 already, just in its base numbers. I mean, it's got potential to do pretty well. It'll probably make the amount of money that the last Ghostbusters movie lost.
Yeah. Well, it's sitting at 5.8 in the UK. That was as of reporting of the weekend. So,
and look, it's still got like Australia to open up in yet.
Yeah.
France.
Yeah.
I know Andre said it's not opening for yet almost a month yet in Norway, at least a couple weeks.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I know that's not a huge market, but I mean,
but I don't know. I don't know why they didn't just run away and do it. But
there was some shit like in some areas. I know like Venom got delayed,
right?
But now I've heard that they're kind of pissy because the box office for Venom isn't doing so well because it's already out there.
Right. Yeah, but I feel like next weekend it'll do pretty well. And here's the other thing. They've been making excuses for films all year in the entertainment media, entertainment press, the trade specifically, in these wackadoodle websites out there like you described. Which is the box office is going to be lower because of the global crisis that we've been dealing with, right? And so, I mean, if you try to be just a teensy tiny little teeny bit, intellectually honest.
I mean, yes and no. I mean, because Venom played very well, right? True. Like you cannot deny Venom's opening.
No, it did really well.
And I was hoping that Ghostbusters would do at least another 10 or 20 more million than it did.
Right.
Just to kind of knock it out of the park. But maybe, just maybe, there's some people who were waiting to hear what the reaction were. Maybe there's some people who are completely unaware of what this film is yet. I have no idea what the advertising campaign was like outside of the internet, right? Like, I mean, I've seen a few ads here and there, but I don't have regular TV, so I have no idea what kind of ad campaign they had on television. But just the same, if they had a very low level campaign, that means that they'll be able to recoup their money quicker. So, I mean, it's kind of a up there in the air kind of thing.
Yeah, I really feel like the film's going to have the legs that you would hope for. I really do.
Well, it's got a couple weeks before anything real major comes up as competition. And you got Encanto and the Gucci movie opening.
Yeah, House of Gucci. Yeah. And look, Encanto might do okay, but it's not.
I don't know if Encanto will take a bite.
It might. It would be it definitely wouldn't be House of Gucci. House of Gucci is that's a too much budget for Oscar bait film.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how the Gucci movie plays, but the Encanto movie, Disney has done the worst fucking job.
Terrible.
Of advertising this movie. Now, is this going to be on Disney Plus at the same time, or what's the plan for this?
I actually don't know the answer to that. I think that it is theatrical only, but let me confirm that right now.
Right, because I'm curious on that part too, because I think that'll play into this weekend is why I ask.
Yeah.
Because Encanto being a family movie opening on Thanksgiving, I mean, I feel like an idiot for not knowing this, but is Thanksgiving even a big deal among the Mexican culture?
Oh yeah. Well, here in the States.
So I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, so I mean, this movie is very much aimed at a Latino audience, which don't underestimate the Latino audience, because as I pointed out several times over, they're like the second largest audience as far as demographic breakdown.
They do. So they overrepresent the market actually in the last few 4 or 5 theme reports. And
that's part of the reason that kind of led to Midnight's at Espanol and this whole thing. Like it's a tidal wave of things, because I noticed like it's a very played to market, or however you want to an under served market. And like Taylor Hackford kind of pointed out, with an asterisk next to it, it's pretty sad we're still in a spot where La Bamba is the highest grossing Latino led film. I mean, which is just weird. I mean, you still look at it, if you don't count Dora the Explorer, he's right. I mean,
how did Zorro do?
Dora the Explorer or Zorro?
Zorro.
I don't know. That might have done better than La Bamba, but the problem with Zorro is, I think, I don't know.
Anthony Hopkins is in it.
Between that, but that's the thing, is you could kind of make that argument because of Lou Diamond Phillips. But the thing with, I don't know who wrote Zorro, because La Bamba was written and directed and all that kind of stuff by, and it being the story of Richie Valens and things of that sort. But I don't know. I mean, that's actually a good one to debate on. And I said it's a debatable argument to a point, but he's not totally wrong. La Bamba was one of the bigger hits. Like, even movies like Selena didn't do as well as La Bamba, not by a long shot.
Well, and yeah. Well, again, Disney did such a poor job presenting Encanto.
Well, and as Olivia, Akara says right in the chat, never heard of Encanto.
Yeah. And I feel bad for Az. I feel bad for people like Mexican Iron Man and even Tom here.
I haven't watched it yet. I've been avoiding it. I will have to probably by tomorrow morning.
Oh,
so we'll see.
All right. Well, you better get some sleep before you do it, so you don't like have an aneurysm. Just
we'll see how it works out.
But yeah, they did a really bad job of promoting Encanto. I mean, Disney normally that thing that it's all ginned up and running, but I think they're playing a lot of defense and they're trying to bank on their tent poles.
You couldn't find whether or not it's on Disney Plus.
No, it's not. It is not on Disney.
Oh, it's not. Okay.
Theatrical only, starting the 24th. Right. Yeah. Sorry, that was my original.
No, that's fine. But a lot of people are already aware that Disney, the whole Disney deal is 45 days. So we'll see how well that plays.
Yeah.
If they don't do a lot of advertising, you're not going to have a lot of kids bugging their parents to go see this movie.
Right. Yeah. Olaf Fones, what's Encanto?
Another person.
It's an animated film from Disney that looks like Coco, but set with a Colombian family and their magical abilities with animals. So there you go.
Actually, it's more than that. I think it's because from the trailer I saw, it has more to do with like this family moves into this house and it gives each member of the family magical powers except for the one girl. And so she's got to figure out what her purpose is or whatever.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, I was trying to give a different breakdown.
Yeah.
What's up, Carries? Naked Fame says that Encanto has sold 40 plus seats here, 7 showings on Thursday. Well, there you go. I was surprised. I went to the earliest possible show so that I could run back and be ready for Comics' show on Thursday at the theater, right, to see Ghostbusters Afterlife. And I was surprised how many people were in the theater for that show. It was amazing. There was no way I anticipated early on a Thursday for there to be that many people in the theater. And based on anecdotal reporting of my friends locally and family members that have seen it since, their theaters were full. So it's amazing.
Well, I know I was a little upset because I've been trying to get my folks to see it. And we actually have a deal here in town where the local theater you can rent for $25 and it's rented all the way up through Sunday. So I was like, shit.
See, that would be so awesome. You said they do the private showings on the weekdays.
Yeah, exactly. It's like $25 or whatever.
That's really cool. Let's cast 2 Welsh people in lead roles. Yeah, Hopkins and Zeta Jones. Most people don't know that she's a Welsh background. Encanto looked like Moana, just rubbish. It's very similar to Coco to me. Moana was actually a masterpiece as far as I was concerned.
Yeah, that was all right
for storytelling.
The thing with Encanto is the trailer didn't look bad, but then I've been hearing some shit after the fact that kind of has me worried for it as far as like the woke bullshit.
Yeah. Let's see. Everybody's saying hi to each other. I feel like if Ghostbusters has one more good weekend this weekend, I feel like it'll be over that hump and it will hit profitability and go from there. I kind of got the sense that Odin was leading in the same way because he talked a little bit about it this morning. So
Yes, Chris Fisk, Magical Latinos.
yeah. Oh wow, and the boss is here. Hey Andre, thanks for joining us.
Greetings, my friends. Absolutely, I can't stay long, but since you're live and I always try to make a point to visit when I can, I have a few minutes if nothing else.
Excellent.
We're here to bust some ghosts.
Yeah.
Nice,
yeah.
nice. No Kevin Smith yet?
No, I haven't watched it yet. Did you watch it yet, Andre?
Not the whole thing. I've seen the first 3 episodes.
You poor people. I'm not going to subject myself to that. I have offered to subject myself to Discovery with, Picard with Paulie. And,
yeah.
I want to do it. Ask for that.
That still hasn't happened.
He won't do it.
He won't?
I bet you $5 he won't do it.
Well, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll suffer through it. If he's going to do it, I'll do it. We can be on camera. Everybody can watch us, slowly.
I don't think he has the cojones.
Oh, easy now. Easy.
That'll get him to do it.
Masters of the Universe Revelations Part 2 sounds awful. As awful, if not more awful than the first season.
I have to say that I'm of two minds so far, 3 episodes in. Mm-hmm. In principle, it is worse. Like story-wise, in terms of no, actually, not in terms of the actual screen story. In terms of the screen story, it's actually better. It's in terms of the meta story, what's really going on in terms of the wokeness and stuff. In that sense, it is worse. Oh, wow. But for if you're able to ignore that and just try to be entertained by the series itself, and I know we're talking hypotheticals here, in that sense, it's actually better so far.
What the hell did you do with Andre, and what do I do to get him back? Because I see this shit here, and I'm just I swear there has got to be. I swear there was something to do with Skeletor does not give a shit about the Sword of Power. From my knowledge, the only person that the Sword of Power means anything to is He-Man. Isn't it? In my understanding, no, you can't just use the Sword of Power as anybody.
Do you know how that was actually a little bit cool, though? You know how she got the Sword of Power from him? I trust that you don't mind.
I don't really give a shit at this point. Yeah.
Mind spoilers?
No, because I pretty much already know how it ends from what we heard before. So
yeah. Well, I was mildly amused by how she did it. That was kind of cool. So I won't spoil anything unless you guys want me to. But,
I don't care.
Does anybody in the audience care? You guys have 15 seconds to decide.
Nobody gives a shit about Evil Lynn.
Well, I saw the other art piece where she gets the the SJW side shave haircut business going on.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Oh, I haven't gotten that far.
Oh, all right.
Oh, so it gets worse than this? Oh my god.
Maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
I've seen some art, so I was like, oh. Naked Fame's not exactly excited by this imagery. Thanks, Tom. You heard Az talking about it on the Real BBC. Commiserations, Tom and Andre. Absolutely.
I still got to watch it yet, but.
Luckily, it's a relatively quick watch.
I mean, again, I guess I gotta do some research, but I was always under the assumption that the Power Sword was only able to be used by Adam. So,
anyone can use it now.
I thought that's how he tapped into the power of Grayskull. That's the whole thing, right?
Because that doesn't play into how this is supposed to end either.
Oh, that's
because if that's the case, then how can he call the power of Grayskull without the sword? Then that's counter. That's
completely against the actual storytelling.
Well, I mean, it's against itself in and of itself is my point. So if you're saying that Adam is really truly the power, if he doesn't need the sword to call on the power, then it is Adam, and then hence why can anybody else just call on the power with the sword? That makes no sense. I'm trying to wrap my head around this shit. I guess I got to watch it. I don't know.
Robert Hammer, that is Evil Lynn. So yeah,
Evil Lynn, yes,
yeah, Evil Lynn. That's a picture is courtesy of our friend That Steven. Oh wow, I think that's Fat Steven Seagal's picture though, isn't it?
I don't know. The quartering is when he posted this one.
Oh, all right. I thought he was just reacting to him, but yeah. Oh well, Occidental Tourist is mad at you, Tom. Mad at you.
What did I do about Paulie now?
All you said was he didn't have the.
He doesn't have the cojones to watch fucking Picard. He doesn't.
He does. Don't do that.
Bullshit. He's been dodging you guys for all the whole time. Haven't you figured that out yet?
That's true. Yeah, nobody cares about spoilers, so we're good to go. Zach's here.
Although I will say that Paulie has plenty cojones because he was able to get us the Danny Trejo thing.
It has nothing to do with Picard. Quit complaining.
No, it has nothing to do with Picard. So I mean, if we're gonna accuse him of one thing, let's bring up some other bosses here.
Yeah. T.O.
No. You're letting him off the hook too easy here.
Oh man, he got T.O. Danny on, man. Uncle Danny.
That ain't got nothing to do with Picard.
Well, it's a great show.
I had to watch the shit, and I got Robert fucking Shea. So
I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. That was pretty unbelievable too.
I'm sorry, Tom. You get recognition for all of your efforts, but I'm going to read this super real quick. Commander at Straker of Shadow for $10 says, "Did you guys hear Kevin Spitz Evelyn's She-Man backstory?"
Yes, I heard. It's actually in the prequel comics. Which I have read and we'll do a video about.
Yeah, she left her cannibal parents who were going to eat her for dinner. Yep. By the way, there is no cannibalism in the Royal Navy. Royal Naval, excuse me. Weird.
Yeah, they fucked with everybody's backstory in these prequel comics. Andre did one already on Skeletor, but I'm like,
that was the worst one.
Right, like I said, you got to do one on the rest of them too. I'm like,
I'm working on it.
Man, that's weird.
Lots of human stuff coming next few days.
Lord Trinan for $5. Thank you for that, my friend. Says Evelyn's new look, I think, is a good representation of a strange overlap between misogyny and misandry in our society. Wow, that's a nuanced take.
Actually, kind of it is. It's like all the stereotypes of like both at the same time.
It is.
And, you kind of get that with how she got the sword in the first place, which I thought was like horrendous, but somewhat amusing at the same time.
No, that's very nuanced, Lord Trinan. I think you're onto something with that. To be honest with you, I'll have to look over the imagery again. No one will remember this.
Mr. Dragon points out that people favor like the new CGI Fortnite team. I'm not surprised because that one is now written by Rob David, and although the execution of that CG animated stuff is not for us, he is someone that really knows the He-Man lore, and that he would be like more respectful than Kevin Smith and Ted Biaselli, because Ted Biaselli at Netflix, he's a real problem here, more so than Kevin Smith.
You still have a hard time convincing me that Power Rangers bullshit is He-Man. I'm sorry. It can still not be overly woke and whatever, but that's not He-Man.
Yeah, well, it's not made for you.
It doesn't matter. No, that's not even the point of whether or not it's made for me. It's not He-Man.
So Tom, everybody wants the spoilers to know how this is all going to end. And since you guys already know.
Well, I kind of said it already. Adam calls on the power of Grayskull without the sword, turns into Savage He-Man. Teela has to tame the Savage He-Man. Oh. She becomes the new He-Ra thingy Mababi.
By way of the sorceress. First she because it's like sorceress versus sorceress and He-Man incarnate versus He-Man incarnate, and both of those are inhabited by Teela and Evil Lyn respectively. So yeah, as far as I've gotten, so first we have like the first half that was basically Teela usurping He-Man's power and effectively becoming the new He-Man, right? Well, now what's happened in the other half is Evelyn usurping Skeletor's power. So they now function as both He-Man and the Sorceress in positive and negative version against each other, with all the men completely sidelined.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's exactly what happened. And Man at Arms was not Man at Arms anymore. I mean, I'm so frustrated with all of this, but the Sentinel's right. For the most part, it's easy to break away from these things. I don't pay for Disney Plus nor Netflix, so there you go. But man, it's hard. It's hard. Yeah, man, there's so much that people are not happy about.
I'm just giving him shit, so maybe he'll do it. That's all.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think we can get him to do it. I think we'll ask Mike to find an incentive for Polly. Royal Naval. Yeah, I don't know, but that's awesome. Andy McCallum is joining us. Good to see you. They can't do toxic femininity. That's our thing. That's right. Actually, it's their thing.
Yeah, really our thing. So yeah.
Yeah, they do a great job. She looks like a trap queen. Interesting take. My point is that most misandrists I know really hate men, but at the same time hate all things feminine. So they want women to be as masculine as possible.
Well,
yeah,
this is a series for them. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, yeah, it seems like it. I think I inherited Andre's cough. Andre,
yeah, that's nice going.
Nah, it's cool. Tom, I understand. I said myself, despite she being good, but the 2000
CGI.
CGI. Thank you. Oh man, CGI. See, this is the problem. I know you guys are using phones, and I appreciate you watching on your phone. It's just unlike Tom, I haven't had enough years to figure out what these are supposed to be.
I don't always know what they mean. I just make shit up sometimes.
Yeah, this CGI being good, but the 2002 is what I grew up on. Was born in 1998. The only 80s cartoon I saw was G.I. Joe.
Well, and what I mean is, it may be good, fair. It may be fine, it may be great storytelling, but and I'm not trying to say like nobody should enjoy it or watch it, but to me, just the setup, the premise, the idea, it is not He-Man. It has more in common with things like Power Rangers, right? He-Man is sword and sorcery meets sci-fi. Right, like this is more sci-fi with a little bit of magic. This is not He-Man. I mean, you can have the characters that are similar-ish, but then also giving everybody powers makes He-Man less important, right? Like, and that's kind of what I was getting to before. Like my whole understanding, and I could be very wrong, but my whole understanding was the whole point of the Power Sword, the whole point of who He-Man was Adam was the only one who could do that. That was the whole point. And the Power Sword don't mean shit to anybody else, because Skeletor was never after the Power Sword. He was just after the secrets of Grayskull.
Yeah, I mean, it was a conduit for him to call upon Grayskull. That's what it was.
Well, in the original toys, it was just the key to get in. And in the cartoon, I mean, as far as I know, anytime he ever went after the sword, it was just so because it was He-Man's sword. And I think it was the same thing as I think he used it to get into Grayskull, but it was never a thing that I ever remember him in any version of the stories that I remember, like Skeletor being like, I need to get my hands on the sword because then I'll become He-Man, because he has no idea that that's how it works. Like nobody else does, but He-Man.
But gentlemen, with that, I regret that I have to.
Before you go, though, what's your prediction on the upcoming weekend for Ghostbusters?
In terms of numbers, I don't have one. I think it's going to hold up well, but I can't translate that to actual numbers. Okay. I think it'll hold well, though.
All right. Thank you, Andre. I appreciate your time today.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you
Sorry I couldn't stay longer.
You're always welcome. Always.
Yeah. All right. Excellent. Take care, everyone. And have fun.
Have a good day.
Yeah.
Take care.
Well, we had the boss on for a minute. That's awesome. I mean, come on.
Well, I figured we could try.
No, always. You know that you carte blanche to pull anybody in that any of our Midnight's Edge folks. I trust every one of them, and I love it because I need their opinions too. I don't often get a chance to get them, but Masters of the Universe movie, that is. Oh, which was? Wait. There's some. First part is the Master of the Universe Skeletor does change to Super Skeletor. Yeah, he does change to Super.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. But not because of he gets the secrets of Grayskull, though. Not because he has the Power Sword.
Yeah, you have to have. But I think I really believe the lore is here.
The movie you cannot go by. The movie is a bunch of like wackiness.
Well, the movie's a mess, but
because there isn't even an atom in the movie.
Yeah, but the cartoon. I mean, again, the thing we grew up with, right? That the toys came out of, or that, in other words, the toys came out, so they had to make a cartoon.
Well, you've got 3 or 4 different versions of the story. Actually, more like 5. So like it depends on which one you go by. Like most fans kind of consider the 2000 series canon. Like that's what they kind of consider the main canon.
Yeah. And Chris Fisk, man, we agree with you. I mean, we understand what's happening here. And you're right. I mean, it's, man, if you listen to Razor Fist like the other day, man, Razor Fist was on fire about, this same kind of stuff. Tearing down deconstructionism. Dude, I'm telling you, he's killing it lately.
Yeah, Olivia McCrary, you're right. The Grayskull toy, you used to use the sword to open the drawbridge, yes. And I think even Ken Jack Ben pointed out earlier, like in the comic books, that's what the sword was all about. But this new TV show, they can't mix in anything from the Filmation show, though. That's the thing. Yeah. Now they can. I don't even know if what of the 2000 series they can use. They can use certain things that were in comics, though. I know that. So, but I know there was one comic series that used a lot of the 2000 series as kind of not what like the inspiration from that.
Holy cow, we have a wild script doctor has emerged. Hail, script.
Hey, everybody.
I sent him a link.
Ah, beautiful.
I needed that because I was falling asleep watching Motu.
I feel naked.
We were just talking about Motu. Oh, wow. I want your impressions. How many episodes are you in?
I've got the last 2 to go by.
Oh, wow. You're farther than Andre then.
Yeah, it's
You don't sound
Is it living up to your expectations, script?
Sure.
You sound like somebody just told you that your puppy died and took away your birthday, man.
Listen, it's not Masters He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. So I still have a great reverence for that original show. This is pedantic.
Oh,
he's using big words now.
Yeah. Yeah. Man.
No, just the sound of your voice, the tone of your voice.
Yeah.
Like, it is not normal. Like it's almost like you went through some kind of trauma.
Yeah.
That's not a trauma. It's just I was literally like tears of being bored. Like just
you sound like you're half awake. That's for sure.
We have to add some letters in front of script doctor now. It's PTSD script doctor.
It's barely conscious. I'm waking up right now. Like
it does sound more
I was slouched in my chair, and then all of a sudden my Twitter just gives me a little ding. I'm like, oh, what? Something happening?
Something to do. Well, you're always welcome as well, script, as you know. But you're going to be very well informed to talk about Motu. I feel very bad for you.
Yeah, I got to watch that yet tonight.
Oh yeah, it's. It makes you laugh for all the wrong reasons. There's that.
Honestly, he sounded a lot more stable than I expected him to, but he's only 3 episodes in.
Yeah.
Well, wait, how many episodes is there? Is there only 5? So if that's the case, then he's probably the same place you are.
How do they divide up this show?
That's what I'm asking.
I think there's 2 sets of 5.
So you both are actually in the same place. Never
You're
mind.
The same spot.
He actually is sounding like he's enjoying it more than you, but like he's like, it's not He-Man, but like there's stuff he's enjoying in it.
There's concepts that are cool, but it just again, like I'm bored to tears. That's just the best I can say about it. It's like, oh, that's a cool idea. What are you doing with it? Oh, the most easiest interpretation of it. Okay.
Well, and as far as the comic book thing, I know the rights are all kind of all over the place is the problem, but there was another comic series I thought after all that kind of borrowed a lot of that stuff, and that's where they can steal like Skeletor being the uncle and shit like that. Even though that was originated in the 2002 series.
But the Skeletor backstory was always really interesting, in my opinion.
Well, originally, there's a couple different ones. Yeah, like the original one is actually sort of half-assed similar to what they put in the prequel comic for this show, but not close. He basically just comes from another planet of like demons like himself.
They all have no face.
Yeah, and then the cartoon version, they don't really give you any backstory on him outside of his connection with Hordak. And then in the 2000 series, he's actually the half-brother of Randor, and he gets in cahoots with Hordak and so on, and that, like, so that's all where that shit came, kind of, they all put it together, and I could have swore that comic book series after that kind of borrowed some of that.
Yeah, but I'm confused of the origin of Evelyn, because I always thought that she was also the daughter of a very powerful magician.
She is.
Not in Motu season, this one.
Yeah, no, they fucking totally changed.
Oh
that
yeah,
shit.
we looked at her picture just a few minutes ago. Tom brought an image up of her looking all jacked.
All the characters have had completely changed backstories except for Tila, pretty much. Yeah. And she is just the only thing with Tila's prequel story is that she's just as disrespectful as she is in the show.
You guys,
and then Fisto says some pretty questionable things.
Masochists, you guys are masochists. I would not subject myself to this stuff.
Are you insinuating they're trying to make Fisto gay?
No, but he does use some terms that are.
We get some more of those. Lovely.
They no, like the terms are like, oh, I'm gonna beat him up, but it's like John Cena and Trainwreck just not getting how to perform the insult.
Oh,
and it's deliberately done to make a joke, I believe.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Xenobit for $5 says, did you see the 2011 live action He-Man where Chris Hemsworth played He-Man and Tom Hiddleston played Skeletor?
That was called Thor.
Yeah, that was Thor.
Cool. I wouldn't have looked at it that way. I was like going, I don't know what this film is.
Although I will say there's stuff in Ragnarok where I was like, the He-Man movie needs to look like this. Like all that shit in the beginning when he's battling that demon guy.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
That was getting chased by the dragon and shit. I'm like, the Masters of the Universe movie has to look like this. This is what it needs to look like. And yeah, that was my feeling on that. Especially when he's like racing across the plane, flying with like I could see that same background with just He-Man riding Battle Cat, right? In silhouette.
Well, this is a good question from Trots. Script, is it in the Twilight Zone?
It's
possibly.
Well, it needs its own universe. It's not the one. I mean, Fisto isn't Tila's real father. I mean, I never believed that anyways, just because of certain things that have lined up in other interpretations and episodes. Yeah. But because Hebro, the YouTube channel for He-Man and Masters, he has some interesting theories. He thinks it's Fisto, but I've seen other things that say otherwise.
Snail Messiah, that would mean that Kevin would actually have to read his comments. Yeah, I wouldn't. Like I said, I mean, I don't even want to go there. Hamdinger says, Tom is here. Yes,
I am.
Tom is here.
Hevel in. That's what I keep trying to say.
That's what I said. Hevel in. It's a man, baby.
Rogue Disney. Rogue Disney's here. What's up, Rogue Disney?
Well, how else is she supposed to compete with Tila and all those fucking men?
Dude, they're all jacked, man. Jacked. Usually you have to go to like a wrestling, like a pro wrestling.
Well, that's the thing is Tila and all of them are already kind of excessively jacked for women. Yeah. So you add more to them.
Yeah.
Like she's already kind of at that limit where you can kind of take it and it still be feminine. Yeah, Xenobit, I got you. I see what you're throwing down. The only thing I would say in all seriousness is Thor and He-Man are two completely different characters in a sense that Thor is still trying to get his shit together. So he's more like Prince Adam in a sense, but He-Man is like Superman.
Yeah. And thank you for the $2 super chat, my friend. I agree. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Tom.
No, it's just I'm saying like He-Man, like when he comes on, he's all like confidence and he doesn't have any kind of like daddy issues like Thor does. I'm just playing. But
man, the fallout between Randor and his wife is.
I heard something about that.
Yeah.
I'm.
Oh yeah.
I don't even know why you get. I don't. Yeah, you guys.
Kevin Smith forgot how to person.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, he got wrapped up in Hollywood too long. He forgot how to person. He had a woke kid and a woke wife.
He had to stay in California.
all he had to do was not turn into the thing he despised the entire time.
That's difficult to do when you're surrounded by it constantly, and an infrastructure is built around you to prop you up, even when you screw up. So it's. But the other type too, there's also various metrics within the industry and distribution that makes an audience that doesn't seem like a whole lot seem irrelevant.
And Clerks 3 is going to be woke as fuck, because you know what Kevin's doing right now? He could have made a good He-Man. He knows he could have, but he's trying to get woke points out the ass right now because he knows he's going to get canceled for all his earlier movies. Because when Clerks 3 comes out, everybody's going to go back and watch his old films, and he's going to get canceled.
Yeah. Well,
especially that 37 joke.
That's not even shit. Chasing Amy is going to get him run out of fucking Hollywood.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, I remember before cancel culture was really a thing. In one of the Q&As, someone tried to, essentially cancel Kevin Smith with a question about Chasing Amy, and he basically put her in her place very respectfully. But I imagine that 1,000-fold.
He's not going to be able to run
Twitter
forever.
And then 10,000-fold on Instagram.
Yeah, exactly. He's not going to be able to run forever from it. And I don't have a problem with all his classic films, but I know this fucking woke crowd will. And Chasing Amy is so problematic, it's not even funny. Like anything that like Quentin Tarantino has gotten about the N-word and all this other crap, it's going to come after Kevin. And then that's the movie that's going to do it. Like Clerks and Mallrats, they've got shit on them too, but Chasing Amy is going to be the one they're going to try and cancel him over. You watch. This is my prediction right now. As soon as Clerks 3 comes out and people are reminded of all of his older films, you watch. Especially since it's been long enough since Clerks 2 where you've got a whole new generation who hasn't really been introduced to him yet.
What has it been like? Almost, it's been 15 years since Clerks 2, right?
Yeah, we had a Jay and Silent Bob movie, but that didn't do shit. So
no, but I'm telling you, this new Clerks film is going to be broken too. Don't even kid yourself.
Oh, I know it's going to be woke as fuck.
Yeah.
But I know we're on a bit of a schedule. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about today?
No, I mean, hey, you guys,
other than Script Doctor ripping it up on Twitter by.
Oh, dude, Script, you were epic. 3 days ago? Somebody,
it was over the weekend, Friday and Saturday.
Amazing.
That's what happened when Script Doctor gets bored. See, that's the thing is you can't let guys like me get bored and get on Twitter. No. Shit like that happens.
No. But here's the thing. I mean, and what's amazing to me is the Script doesn't lose his cool at all. I mean, he just, he redirects them back into a what would be a normal, conversation and doesn't, go off, and throw a bunch of ad hominem attacks at him or anything else. It's just bring it back to the conversation. Wait, that wasn't really my point, or you didn't quite understand what I said, it's so great how you just smack them. I love it. It's a good time.
Yeah, I was channeling some, what was that? Shaquille O'Neal doing that dance and then just knocking all those things away.
Olivia Makara's point there, am I the only one who thought Chasing Amy was absolute shit? Effing hated that film. I didn't hate it, but it's my least favorite of all his films. And the reason for that is, oddly enough, at the time that came out, that was his most pandering, self-flagellating, or whatever word you want to look for, film he ever made. Right? But now it's going to be the movie to get him canceled. But back then, that was the movie to get him brownie points.
HVP, Script Doctor is greater than Kevin Smith. Yes.
I'm younger.
It's not hard to do anymore. Not to take anything
lighter
away
than
from
him.
Script. That's like saying, Script could beat up an old person.
I can, but I just have no inclination to do that.
Yeah. Well, Naked Fame. They were pretty much blithering idiots. I can't even begin to tell you. Script was
I got a lot of Peter Jackson, Lord of the Rings stuff, and it's you don't know the history of that production, do you?
Well, not just that. I told you there was the easy answer. You just drop pictures of The Hobbit.
Yeah, I could do The Hobbit. But that's kind of like the inverse. Yeah, that's like the inverse, pretty much.
That's my point. Yes.
take a tiny little book and turn it into 3 movies, and oh god,
because that goes exactly to your point, right? And it goes against what everybody else is saying. Is yes, there's always exceptions to rules. I also like my Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, Bohemian. A couple people did music, and I had to remind them, you are aware that you don't go to a concert for 3 hours to listen to one song.
Well, and it's not even just that. It's just like you said, like we said, yeah, once in a while you'll get a Bohemian Rhapsody where they actually allow a 6.5-minute song on the radio.
Yes.
But 9 times out of 10, actually 9.9 times out of 10,
Radio
if you
edit.
try to give them a 6-minute song, they'll look at you and go, "You're fucking nuts." They'll cut it down to 3 and we'll talk.
Radio
Right?
Yeah,
Like-
exactly.
And
It
yeah,
was like
and-
West End Girls. That was like a little longer than 3 minutes back in the day.
dude,
right?
that thing made me want to find a building to jump off of. If they played the whole LP version, I was like, God, Lord, God.
Some songs can constitute 5 minutes, and the radio will let you get away with it. But like that's the whole thing. Is you go back to the original like an introduction of AM and FM radio. Like the whole idea was, you got a 2 to 3 minute song, you get your shit in, you get out, because we ain't got time for this 6-minute nonsense, right? Like, and that's where FM came in to be, because that's where album rock came in, and that was a little different. But that was a whole little niche market. Yeah, and Thanatos Fallacious brought up the one that I also brought up. Inagata Davida. As great as that 17-minute version is, guess what? You get the best parts in the 3.5-minute version.
Yeah,
It's all
you
there.
really do.
Now, once in a great while, I'll
Man.
get stoned and listen to the 17-minute version, but I ain't got time for that shit any other time.
No, man, you have to be in the mood for that. If you're at a concert, me might be able to dig that chicken, but for the most part, I mean,
Yeah, Wonder This World, that's another exception to the fucking rule. But up to that point, how many 3-minute hits did Eagles have, right? Like,
John Henley had more hits on his own than the Eagles did.
Well, no, but my
That's
point
the
is
Glenn
most
Fry.
of their songs were radio friendly,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Well, not only that, I mean, you just you can count, I would say, percentage wise, there's less than 5% of all the movies that have been just North America since the start of Hollywood that actually exceed those target timeframes. I mean, there's so many movies that are put out that fit within those target timeframes, and yeah, a lot of them are terrible, but a lot of them are really good. And the ones that are made by those that are really good, those people have come back to make a couple of those epics that are just absolutely fantastic, that have that extended runtime. But you only are able to accomplish that by perfecting, the basics. It's just like if you're trying to learn any skill or like weight training. It's like if I'm just like, a 120-pound guy and I want to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, I don't start trying to bench press 200 pounds right away. I got to start small and build myself up to that. And that's just with anything, even in film, any skill you need to do. You got to start somewhere, usually within your limits. And then as you get used to that, you slowly push yourself over time to get better. And if you do it too fast, you're going to hurt yourself or someone else. And if you do it too slow, you're really never going to grow. So you got to find that sweet spot to your own individual pace.
96 to 108.
Well, there's another way of looking at it, because, like, first of all, it's not like you said that this constitutes or says anything about making a good film. Like, that was, I think, the big misconception I think people got right off the bat.
Because they didn't read it. They didn't read
But
what
the
he
point
said.
is you can make cookies a different way, a lot of different ways, right?
Yeah.
But 9 times out of 10, though, you still got to kind of do the basics the same.
Sugar and flour.
Exactly. and the time you bake them and all that kind of shit. And that's where I was getting to, was the time part of it, right? Unless you're doing something that's really insanely crazy with it, chances are you're not going to cook a different cookie any longer than you're going to cook any other cookie. So if you can't work within the time frame that you're normally given, then there's something wrong with you. I'm talking to you, Dennis Villeneuve. Like,
Denis Villeneuve.
yeah, like, motherfucker, like, he's the only one of these exceptions out there that's been able to just kind of like get free reign. Same thing with Nolan. Like, here, you want to challenge Nolan? Give me a movie that's 90 minutes, bitch. Like,
Well, I mean, some of his earlier stuff is really good. Like, it's
Right.
solid and it's to the point. And the other part, too, is when you say you have 90 minutes, it's like, great, what is the best stuff out of this 3 hours I have? And I'm going to put that all together. And it's like, oh, great. So now that 90 minutes has way more great stuff than mediocre, average, or okay stuff. And that's why a good movie can be a good movie. All the great stuff is there, and all the stuff that's not as great is gone. And if you know how to thread those great moments to each other seamlessly, you most likely will have a very great movie. And there's nothing wrong with that. How does that hinder anyone? And how does that restrain a creative? A creative loves a challenge. The creative's like, okay, I've got 3 colors of paint, a piece of cardboard, and 1 brush and a bottle of water. And whatever they make out of that is impressive because of the limitations. That's what creativity is. It's a byproduct of limitations. And people saying artists can't be limited is like, well, then they're not artists.
Well, and speaking of that limitation, and that you've led me into the question I needed to ask you, because we asked Andre, we're going to ask you too. Were you impressed with Ghostbusters Afterlife special effects on a budget film in a short period of time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have any issue with the effects at all.
No issues with the effect. I mean, here's the other part about Ghostbusters that I think some people kind of forget is that even the special effects in the original Ghostbusters are used rather conservatively.
Yeah. It's a very practical effect heavy film.
Yeah, and then on top of that, it's like only when it absolutely has to. Everything else is very character dependent, character oriented. Like when I was finishing building a bed last night, I had Ghostbusters 2 on in the background, and every time I'm glancing back to it, it's just a normal shot that you could shoot in any other movie. It doesn't have to necessarily be like a science fiction or paranormal or supernatural thing. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, these have all the working elements of a normal movie. But what makes it, Ghostbusters are the characters and the fact that, yes, they have these tools that do these things that are really cool. So yeah, I mean, it's that's how you do it. Then when you go to, say, the 2016 thing, we have lots of improv, but elaborate sets, elaborate spectacles. Some of the jokes that they do have in there are really, really bad. Like there's only 2 that I think are good, and I'm being charitable when I say that. Yeah. And yeah, that's and it's all very like that end scene at in Ghostbusters 2016 with the dance number and all the like that's just a waste of money right there. You don't even need that. But
So are you saying that the crew of Ghostbusters Afterlife has the tools and the talent?
Absolutely. I mean, listen, I got my criticisms with them as well, and I think that's a result of the fact that I suspect a lot of the people in the production love the franchise and the IP so much that it's tricky to divorce themselves from some of the sweeter moments that they like that might not be needed for something that might be a bit more important. But that's why I call it Ghostbusters Afterlife, a movie that's set in the Ghostbusters universe, but it's not necessarily about the Ghostbusters.
No, and I'll totally agree with that, and that's where I think some people are having an issue with the movie as well, and that's understandable to some point.
Oh, I get it, but it's kind of just like it's kind of like a defibrillator to Ghostbusters. So it's on the bed, it's had a heart attack, and the doctor has come in and revived the patient. They're weak, but they're looking good. Signs are well, and you feel happy. And in a few months' time, or in this case, a few years' time, they're going to be back on their feet, and we're going to be seeing them at the focal point, and not so much the medical team around them that saved their life.
Well, and it's because of that point, though, that I have a big point of contention with people who are like, oh, it's just like The Force Awakens, and it's just the same thing as the first Ghostbusters.
It borrows some elements, but it doesn't use them in the same light.
Exactly.
It's not like Force Awakens, but
Force Awakens doesn't understand what it's borrowing. Ghostbusters Afterlife does understand what it's borrowing.
It does.
And Force Awakens is a pure carbon copy, like beat for beat for beat.
It's close.
Like I agree with you, Script. Like, yeah, there's stuff in Afterlife that's just like the other Ghostbuster movies, but the difference is it's used in a different way. It's presented.
I've never seen like hundreds of traps planted in like a farmland and used to capture not just like a bunch of other random ghosts, but break up Gozer.
It was amazing. That was so well done. And real quickly, because Xenobit has 2 here. The first one is the $2 one here. It says, "Have you looked into Arcane?" I guess that's the new show that's out on Netflix. No, I haven't had a chance to. This one here is important. Xenobit for $5 says Mel Gibson said spending $350 million on a superhero movie was ridiculous. Years later, Deadpool and Joker came out. He's right about big budget films.
Yeah, and he's not the only one. There's been a few people speaking. Even Ridley Scott, though he has no room to fucking talk.
Lately, did you see his take today?
Calling the kettle black, very much so.
No, he's been the king of bad takes in the last couple of weeks. Here's his last one. He blamed the millennial, and this is the one time you'll hear me stick up for the young kids. He blamed the young millennials and their phones for his Me Too movie fucking failing. And it's like he's like, no, it wasn't the marketing. Disney did a beautiful, like, you dumb fuck. No, they didn't. First of all, nobody even knew the movie was coming out. Second of all, what marketing there was like, this is Me Too the movie. Come see the wokest movie you'll ever fucking see with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck.
Yeah. This is a good comparison, Zach. But and here's another good point by Daryl. The Force Awakens could have been better with Gozer as the big bad.
The Force Awakens would have been better if Rey had a wand, and if she was the one, or if there was some sort of crossover to her journey in regards to, you know, the Star Killer base and everything. Because like that's the thing, like it's someone who thinks they've memorized the plot of the first Star Wars, trying to recreate it, and so you can see a lot of the familiarity, but you also see that person wasn't paying attention at all.
Yeah. All right, Script. We have just a few minutes left. We're going to ask you the same thing we asked Andre. Where do you think we're going to be next weekend?
Oh, that's a good question, because it's at 63 worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
Is it how many more markets is opening up this Thanksgiving Day weekend?
Well, actually, that's the problem. I think let's look at the international real fast. Ba-bam.
Because domestically, I think it'll probably be $10 million less on the week. Oh, you know what? It's the Thanksgiving Day weekend, man. That's hard.
That's pretty much what I said, though. Script was about 10 million.
I think maybe a 10 million decline, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a 10 million increase too. Like it's because again, it's trending on Twitter.
It is.
The advertisement around my neighborhood, which is just like a little cul-de-sac type of pocket thing. All the bus stops have Ghostbusters Afterlife stuff on it. I'll be heading into the city for work tomorrow, so I'll see how many more advertisements are there. I don't know, but I think maybe about a plus or minus 10 million. So it's not going to have the same exact as it had this past weekend, but it's either going to be 10 million less overall the weekend or 10 million more. I think that's what it'll be, for domestically at least. Because I know like a lot of the theaters weren't all sold out in various markets, but I think those ones might be, given the word of mouth going on here.
I'm going to step out on a limb. I'm going to say it's going to make 38 on this holiday weekend domestically.
So you're kind of in the middle there.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that could be the case. Yeah.
Well,
I don't dispute that. It's definitely foreseeable.
So I said 30 or 35.
Yeah, it doesn't get a wider international release until December 1st, it looks like.
And that's where it's going to get a nice bump.
Yeah, and that'll be good because it's going to need another, kick in the pants to get the numbers back up. But
it just has to break 250 worldwide, and then we'll see a full profit.
I know.
Yeah.
Xanobet, last super chat, and then we're going to wind down, folks. Thanks for being here for this abbreviated show today. I really wish it wasn't, but unfortunately I have time constraints. For $2, Xanobet says, I wanted the Statue of Liberty to fight Stay Puffed Marshmallow.
I know, right?
That would have been awesome, right?
Well, I mean, he's a sailor. He's in New York. He meets a harbor chick. What do you think's going to happen?
Exactly.
That's right.
They're going to wrestle.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your love.
Yeah. Hey, a lot of people smiled during that film. Well, I feel like we've gone. I think we've gone through the things we were wanting to accomplish today, plus a couple others. It was a great pleasure to have Andre join us for as brief a period as he could, and of course, Script Doctor, who's freaking awesome, and Tom from Midnight's Edge. You guys have anything to promote? I know Script. You other than assembling furniture, are you going to make some beautiful things for people?
After Christmas, yes, I'll be making some beautiful things after Christmas. That's when I'm going to have a lot of free time after I have to celebrate the holidays with the family. So I'm hoping to get something out there, if not before the new year, just after the new year, because I'm going to have some more free time. Focus more on the screenwriting side of things and more on the YouTube side of things. So it's going to be great, and I look forward to entertaining all of you and hearing your feedback.
And I would like to promote Healthy Prostates.
Yeah.
So if you're a woman, do your man a favor. If you're a guy, do yourself a favor, and take care of business. I'm
very, very uncomfortable with what just happened on my show. Apparently, Tom, sing Jackie Wilson Before You Leave. All right. On that note, thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. You guys are absolutely the best. Thank you for joining us today. For those of you catching it on the replay, thank you. Do be sure to comment and like if you weren't in the live chat. Even if you're on the live chat, come back later, catch something you may have missed. I appreciate you all very much. Be sure to take care of yourself. Take care of others. Wash your hands, of course, because it's good hygiene. And until next time, bye.
You know your love is the king, being higher and higher and higher. Your love is lifting me so high, high off the ground up into the fucking sky, higher and higher and higher and higher. The Culture Casino Show. It's time to go. It's the Culture Casino Show. It's really time to go. Get the hell out of here. You can't stay here. Go away. It's the Culture Casino Show. Come back another day. It's time to go home. Don't forget to tip your waitress. Let's go, Brandon.